구원해준 나의 천사 나의 세상 난 이상 새 고향이 널 만나러.
Please lower the volume if you don't want to hear my voice. Jungkook moved through the smoke-laced air, his steps echoing over cracked marble and broken glass. The high-security building behind him crumpled, floor by floor, as if the world bent to his will. Nothing touched him, nothing ever could. His chin remained high, jaw locked tight, unreadable. Fire sparked behind him, but not even the heat dared kiss his skin. His eyes, cold as winter steel, gave no hint of emotion. Power followed him like a shadow. Behind him, his men moved swiftly, efficient and silent. They did not need orders shouted. One look from him, just one flicker of his gaze, and they knew exactly what to do. That was the mark of his rule. Jungkook was the ice boss, the man who never raised his voice yet silenced armies. He ran syndicates across cities, every deal sharp, every betrayal remembered. He never forgave, he never explained. His royalty was rare, his wrath fatal. He built his empire not on bloodlust but calculation. He studied every face, every flaw. Emotions were luxuries he had no time for. Love, mercy, weakness, he froze them out long ago. What remained was control, precision, eyes in human form. No alarm screamed, no one resisted, not anymore. They had learned. When the ice boss arrived, chaos did not explode, it unraveled. Quietly, efficiently, and always, always under his eye. That was how it worked, that was how he ruled. Jungkook entered the room. It was empty, dim, and lifeless. Dust floated in the air like time had frozen. He stopped at the center, eyes still, and lifted his hand. A single gesture told his men to destroy everything. They nodded silently and moved to obey, but Jungkook did not move. He scanned the room sharply, eyes flicking from wall to wall. There was something he sensed, something still breathing in the silence, something that made him pause. His gaze settled on the bed in front of him. He tilted his head slightly, his expression unreadable. Then he lowered his eyes slowly until he stared beneath the bed. He said nothing, but his look was enough. The men followed his gaze. One of them bent down, and other joined. There, hidden in the shadows, they saw her, Wayan, curled into herself, crying silently with her face buried in her knees, barely holding herself together. Without hesitation, they grabbed her arms. She gasped, jerking up in fear, her eyes wide and filled with tears. They pulled her out like broken glass from rubble. She was trembling. Her sobs were silent, but her pain filled the air. Held tightly between them, her eyes found Jungkook. He stood in front of her, tall and still. His face gave nothing away, just a blank stare that dug deep into her soul. She waited, unsure if he was her end. Then his gaze flicked to the men's hands gripping her arms. In an instant they let go. She stumbled slightly, wincing in pain, but did not speak. The room was so quiet that even her shaky breathing sounded loud and broken. Jungkook began walking toward her, slow, steady steps that echoed like a verdict. Wayan stared at him, her eyes wet, her lips parted in fear. She could not run, she could not look away. His presence alone was paralyzing. His eyes scanned from head to toe, torn dress, bruises on her skin, arms shaking, hair tangled and wild, her face swollen from crying. He took it all with just a single glance. His pace did not change. He did not need to ask any questions. His silence alone pressed on her chest like a weight. Yet she spoke, voice trembling as her eyes avoided his. "I'm not from here," she said, her tone raw and broken. "They took me from my place," she continued, sniffing between each word. Her voice cracked like glass under pressure. They said they will take me somewhere else tomorrow, she whispered, lips trembling. Then her voice dropped. They kill my family. The last words tore her apart. Her body shook with sobs she could not hold back. Her eyes closed tightly as if trying to block out the memory, but nothing could. Grief bled from every inch of her being. Jungkook raised his hand, slow and sharp. She fell silent instantly, lips parted in fear. She did not know what that gesture meant. Would he walk away? Would he burn her down like the building behind him? He said nothing. Instead, he turned around without a word and walked away. His steps echoed like judgment. Wayan stood frozen, blinking, unsure if she had been spared or sentenced. Her body swayed lightly, held up only by numb will. The man behind her gestured for her to move. She hesitated, but her feet followed as if it tied to invisible chains. She did not ask where they were going. She knew she had no choice. She had nothing left. The car rolled to a slow stop. Wayan looked up through the window at the house before her. It stood alone, grand and silent, its white stone walls glowing under the evening light. She stared, unsure what fate waited inside. She was escorted in gently, though Jungkook was nowhere to be seen. The door opened and the men led her up the stairs. Her steps were soft and sure, her heart still racing. They took her to a room, her supposed room now. She stepped in slowly, her eyes sweeping across the space. Clean, spacious, quiet. Escaped from one prison only to be caught in another, she thought bitterly. She wanted to clean the room, to do something, anything, she thought. But the men spoke, pulling her from her thoughts. This is your room. You have everything here, one said. She blinked, lips parting to ask something, but he continued. You can lock it from the inside, he added. With that, they left. The door clicked shut. She reached for the lock, turning it with shaky fingers. Alone now, truly alone. A private room felt like luxury. She never thought she had no again. She wandered to the wardrobe and pulled it open. Clothes were neatly folded. They were too large for her, but it did not matter. She grabbed one and rushed to the bathroom, needing to feel clean, needing to feel alive again. The water hit her skin and she hissed in pain. Every bruise stung like a fresh cut. Her sobs blended with the sound of the shower, and she cried there, her hands trembling. After washing, she slipped into the oversized clothes and stepped out. Her stomach rolled, reminding her how long it had been since her last meal. She glanced around, searching for food. Any sign of kindness? She opened the door slowly. Outside stood a maid, holding a tray. The woman smiled softly. Enjoy the food, ma'am, she said. Wayan returned a weak smile and took the tray. She did not even close the door behind her as she headed back inside. She placed the tray on the bed and sat. No thoughts, no question. Whether the food was poisoned or not, she would still eat. If she died now, at least she would meet her family again. That was comfort enough. She ate quickly. Each bite felt like a forgotten gift. Her stomach warmed, the emptiness fading for the first time in days. She drank water. She drank every drop of water, her eyes fluttering shut. Full, finally full. For now, that was enough. It had been days since she had proper sleep. She did not know when it had happened. Her body gave in, her mind shutting down from exhaustion. Curled up on the bed like a newborn child, she slept without dreams. The door creaked softly. Jungkook stepped in, his eyes falling on the unlocked handle. He entered with quiet steps, cautious and composed. The silence in the room greeted him first, then the sight of her lying there. She looked fragile in the dim light. A cut ran across her forehead. A bruise darkened her lip. Her arms and neck showed signs of what she had survived. His face remained still, unreadable. Something inside him stirred. He stood there, not knowing why he had come. Maybe to check, maybe to leave, but when he saw her, everything else blurred. He could not walk away. Something in her presence pinned him to the floor like gravity. Leaving her then felt like betrayal, like regret that would stay with him forever. Now he did not move closer, he did not speak. He simply stared at her as if she was the only thing that mattered in the world full of ruins. The next morning, Wayan woke slowly. Her body ached less, her mind still hazy. She noticed the door was closed, not locked, just gently shut. She took a deep breath, flesh growths on her skin, and a strange heaviness on her chest. Unlocking the door, she stepped into the hallway and found a few men waiting. "Boss wants to see you," one of them said. She nodded silently, feet moving on their own. They led her down the hall and into a large room, a grand living room with tall ceilings and soft lighting. Jungkook sat there, distant and unreadable like a king on his throne. She walked toward him, slow and unsure, her fingers twisted around each other nervously as her eyes stayed low. The air felt heavy, his presence shifted the atmosphere like thunder before a storm. He looked up, his eyes were sharp, cold, and silent. Just the weight of his stare made her gulp again. "Sit down," he said, voice low but commanding. Her body froze for a moment, and her mind braced for what came next.